Welcoming my 10th class students. Today I start my bio session with the process of excretion, and the name of the chapter is Excretory System in Human Beings. Children, as we all know that in order to live a life, various processes are carried in our body. These processes, they are digestion, respiration, circulation, as well as reproduction. Excretion is also one of the major processes which is carried in our body. Coming to our topic, excretion. What is excretion? Excretion is the process by which waste substances are eliminated from our body. Now, what are these waste substances? These waste substances or toxic substances are excessive nitrogenous waste, then proteins, vitamins, minerals, water which are not required by our body after completing all the processes. The organs which remove these substances are called as excretory organs, and these substances are called as excretory substances. How these processes are carried? Just now I told you there are various excretory organs in our body. Mainly we have three excretory organs, that is kidneys. They remove metabolic nitrogenous waste, proteins which are not required by our body. Excessive water is also removed. Then lungs, they remove respiratory gases such as carbon dioxide. Skin also acts as a respiratory organ because it helps in removal of excesses of water as well as salt. You must have experienced that we have the process of sweating, that is removal of excess of water as well as salts from our body. Now next we will study how this process of excretion it takes place mainly through our kidney. Next, proceeding to the structure of kidneys. Kidneys are main excretory organs in the body of human beings. If we see external structure of kidneys, each kidney looks like a bean seed. That is, they are reddish brown in color. If we see kidneys, they lie on either side of our backbone or vertebral column. Each kidney is 10 centimeters long and it is 6 centimeters wide. Then a tube-like structure is given out from the kidneys which is called as ureter. This ureter it arises from a notch which is called as helium, and in the front part it has an expanded part which is called as pelvis. Ureters from both the sides, that is from right kidney as well as from left kidney, they are connected to urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, as the name says, it is a sac-like structure where urine is temporarily stored and then it is voided out from our body. This act of voiding out of urine from the human body is called as micturition. Again, to define what is micturition? Micturition is the process by which urine is voided out from our body. Proceeding next is internal structure of kidneys. Children, notice in the diagram, kidneys internally may be divided into two parts. If we see the longitudinal section of a kidney, that is a cortex part and the medulla part. Cortex part is the darker part and medulla part is the lighter part. These are the two regions of the kidney. The medulla is composed of finely stripped substances which are arranged into several conical pyramids. The apex of each pyramid, that is papillae, it projects into the pelvis. If we see further, then kidneys, they are made up of number of structural and functional units. These structural and functional units, they are called as nephrons. They may be called as renal tubules also, or simply kidney tubules. Now, one nephron is a structural and functional unit within itself. It is called as a single kidney. Reason is that each nephron it does the same function as all the nephrons are doing and overall as one kidney does, that is the process of urine formation. All the steps of urine formation are individually carried in all the nephrons and collectively then it is poured into collecting duct. Now Coming to the structure of nephron, nephrons are divided into following parts. Number one, Bowman's capsule. It is a cup-like structure. It has a hollow space. In that hollow space are present a tuft of capillaries. These capillaries are called as glomerulus. Together, Bowman's capsule as well as tuft of capillaries, that is glomerulus, is called as Malpighian tubule or Malpighian body. Next is PCT. After Bowman's capsule, it enters the PCT, that is called as proximal convoluted tubule. As the name suggests, proximal means first. Proximal convoluted tubule then leads into a hairpin-like loop-like structure. This is called as loop of Henle, which further ends into distal convoluted tubule, which is called as DCT. And finally, all these tubules, they lead into a duct which is called as collecting duct. Now we will discuss how the process of urination takes place, or the functioning of nephrons. The process of urine formation is basically divided into two steps. Number one, ultrafiltration, and second, reabsorption. First, we'll talk about ultrafiltration. As we know, the blood flows through the glomerulus under great pressure, which is much greater than the capillaries elsewhere. The reason for this is that the pressure is in that of the afferent, that is, afferent means children outgoing arteriole, they are narrower than the afferent. Afferent means incoming arterioles. This high pressure, that is hydrostatic pressure, causes liquid part of the blood to filter out from the glomerulus into the renal tubule. This filtration under extraordinary force is called as ultrafiltration. During this process of ultrafiltration, almost all the liquid part of the blood is filtered. Plasma, along with most of its organic and inorganic substances, including urea, glucose, amino acid, it comes out into the glomerulus and passes into the funnel cavity of Bowman's capsule. Now further, the fluid entering the renal tubule, it is now called as glomerular filtrate. Why? Because it is coming from the glomerulus. The glomerular filtrate consists of, remember, water, urea, salt, glucose and other plasma solutes. The thicker part of the blood left behind in the glomerulus after ultrafiltration, namely plasma proteins, etc., they pass out into the part, and the blood proceeding away from the glomerulus is relatively thick. Now, as I told you, there are two processes, that is number one, ultrafiltration, and second is reabsorption. How does this process of reabsorption it takes place? The glomerular filtrate entering the renal tubule is not urine. Mind that it is simply filtrate blood which has come into the glomerular part. It is an extraordinary dilute solution which consists of lot of usable materials which include glucose and some salts such as sodium. Only children filtration has taken place, but it also consists of certain useful substances which are again reabsorbed. As the filtrate passes down the tubule, much of the water is reabsorbed together with the usable substances, but their reabsorption is only to some extent that the normal concentration of blood is not disturbed. This process is called as selective reabsorption. Come to the word selective means only selected contents they are reabsorbed because they are usable for our body. Certain substances like potassium in the normal course and larger number of foreign chemicals including drugs, penicillin are passed into the forming of urine in distal convoluted tubule. This passage involves the activity of the cell's tubular walls and hence it is called as tubular secretion. Now, this content which is formed is called as urine, and finally urine passes into collecting ducts to the pelvis and through the ureter into urinary bladder by the labial construction of the muscles, and due to gravity urine is expelled out, and this process, as I told you, expulsion of urine or voiding out of urine, is called as micturition. This was about the content formed by the nephrons, that is urine. This is how nephrons they function. Now the urine which is given out, it has certain constituents also as well as properties also, that is color, volume, odor and specific gravity. And constituents of urine are urea, creatinine, uric acid and others are also present in this. This is how the process of urine formation takes place in one particular nephron. Same is done in all the nephrons. That is why nephron is called as one kidney within itself. It is the structural and functional unit of the kidney. Now students, since we have studied the chapter excretion, we need to revise it, and in our ICSE syllabus there are two sections in the question paper, that is section 1 40 marks. It consists of short answer questions, and section 2 is again of 40 marks. It consists of picture based questions, long answer questions as well as diagrammatic questions. So first I'll discuss section A with you. See, for a sample I have given you one paper. Question number 1 is what is excretion and what is osmoregulation. Just notice two things are being asked, that is excretion and osmoregulation. The answer to be written is in the same way as I have given you. First we will describe excretion and then we will write definition of osmoregulation. Then question number 2 is a long answer question, that is if you are asked to describe the structure of kidney, then you need to describe the whole structure. Along with that, you are supposed to draw the diagram also. Even though if the diagram are not asked, then also for long answer questions, you are supposed to draw the diagrams as well as underline the specific and key words which are being used in your answers to make them more specific, so that clarity of the answer is there while doing the correction